Thank you for staying with us. Time now for the news review, and we're going to slice and dice to let you know what exactly is happening from the papers and beyond. We'll be hosting Kojo Nsafua Poku. He's an energy analyst. He's also aspiring to lead the New Patriotic Party. Before I get to Kojo, you can see him in your shot. This segment is always brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering you, if you're a man, free prostate screening, gratis, zilch. If you're a woman, they're offering you fertility screening, and you need to make tracks there. Don't let something catch you unawares. So make tracks to Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, and here's where you can find them. Here in Accra at Spintex opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronum Abwehia, behind the Angel Educational Complex. Then there is Takrady Anaji Estate. When you come back to the Greater Accra region, they're also in Tema, Community 22. Then there's Techiman Hanso and Esiama Nzema. You should call them, I prefer that you do, on these numbers, 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the news review. And you know how we do it. I'm going to be finding out from Kojo a few things. Mr. Poku, a very good morning to you.
All right, good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm okay. I see you in your usual yellow corner. And when I see this, that I know Kojo Poku is on the AM show. So, Kojo, we have just about, 14, just about 22 minutes. I want us to maximize that by cutting incisively into a number of stories, okay? So I want you to share your thoughts, but let's go straight to the point.
We have 22 minutes.
Hey, I can't hear you, Kojo.
Give us more time. Say that again.
Okay, now I can hear you better. I couldn't hear you earlier.
I said this thing you do is not fair. You come on and you say we have 22 minutes. Why do you give ourselves 22 minutes when you know me and you can talk for like an hour?
Well,
why are you giving ourselves 22 minutes?
Well, the show is not about us. That one we'll meet over a cup of something and then talk about it. But let's start off the conversation from your end. How is your campaign going to lead the MPP, especially in light of what your colleagues are promising? Alan Tremating says he's going to employ those from the grassroots, and that has raised quite a furore, a storm. The vice president says 10 members of each constituency will be given jobs, if he becomes leader of the party and eventually president. Alan is also promising grassroots, you will get jobs. But some people are pointing to the fact that, wait, this makes no sense, because if you do that, then what is going to happen is you are going to compromise quality for quantity. And in fact, you're going to be putting a lot of square pegs in round holes simply because they are members of your MPP or the party, which will also lead to a lot of cronyism, nepotism, and all of that. What do you feel about it?
Well, I don't agree with the square pegs in round holes analogy. I don't think that...
Unless you're telling me all these people will be completely qualified.
Let me finish. Ben, you asked a question. Let me finish. Listen, I don't agree with that. And I'm going to explain why I don't agree with that. When somebody says that they are going to give 10 allocations to a constituency, it means that when something comes up and there are people within that constituency that qualifies, they will be given the opportunity to fill it. Do I agree with that? Well, I'm not part of his campaign to say whether I agree or not. My message, that's not my message. But the point I'm saying is that it doesn't presume that you are going to fill round squares with square pegs. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. The issue of Alan talking about giving pay, a salary, allowance, whatever you might call it, to the grassroots. Look, he feels strongly that as a party, we need to basically resource and find money for the grassroots to basically take care of certain basic things. The amount on the quantum of money needed to do that is huge. Yes, there is a need to find money for people in the grassroots, but if you're looking at something that will work out to be something like $12 million or something or thereabout a year, my Kojo Poku question will be, is that the best way to spend our resources? But look, everybody has their campaign on the road, and I really don't want to dissect my competitors' campaign on TV. I have my own campaign, and let the delegates decide who they vote for based on the campaign, the messages that they are hearing.
So what is Kojo Poku's campaign message now? I mean, in just one sentence, what is your message?
Well, my message to that party issue is basically resources. And what the party grassroots are looking for is a two-way communication. You see, if you talk about giving 10 resources, 10 allocations to the constituency, if you talk about giving allowance salary to the grassroots, it means that that gap which they don't want is still there. You see, what the constituency level party people are asking for is closer to government. So there's a two-way communication. What Kojo Poku is offering the grassroots and the constituency leadership is a two-way communication. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody in constituency wants any allocation. They might want other things. If that two-way communication and the relationship between the leadership of the party and the leadership of the constituency exists, then you can assess these and treat with it. I wouldn't say that I want to pay you, then go and sit aloof and say that, oh, but I paid you, so I don't care about what's going on. I feel that there should be a closeness because we are all one family. And as a family, there should be a constant two-way communication between the president or the leader of the party and the grassroots, because I believe that as a political party, it's like a pyramid, and the base is where the energy is. So the top should be in constant touch with the base. And that's my message.
All right. Thank you for sharing those thoughts. Maybe the final bit I'll bring to your attention before we get into the newspapers. The LGBTQI plus bill, and now it's been given a stamp of approval from Parliament's end. What do you make of the progress on that? Some are also citing the Speaker of Parliament, saying he didn't allow enough room for dissenting views on the bill, and that it was a bit of a stifling environment in Parliament. What do you make of it?
Well, I didn't think there were any dissenting views. They asked that anybody opposed to it should stand up, and nobody stood up. I mean, if anybody has opposing views, they should put it up. You see, I don't see why people are scared of the tag and then the labeling that people will give them. It's a bill. It is something that is going to be in law. If you feel that you have dissenting views, put up your dissenting views. But the reason that nobody has so far put up dissenting views means that it has 100% support of our members of parliament, and I think majority of the nation. If the bill was to put into a referendum, it will get over 98% because we're a Christian nation, okay? I just think that as much as we have a lot of bills, a lot of laws, a lot of statutory in our books, implementation becomes a problem because you have to catch someone in the act. And also, well, unnatural cannery law has always been in our statutes. So look, implementing it is a problem, but it's good to have that bill so that we are abreast with time and things around us. There are a lot of things going on around the world that if we are not careful, it would invade our society and it wouldn't augur well for the Christian society that we are.
All right. Well, let's get into the major stories now per the newspapers, and I'll start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. A number of interesting stories there that we're going to be getting into. It says, mining dispute, AG fights $300 million claim. That story I'll be bringing to you shortly. Then, Ministry of Health advocates increase in duties on tobacco and alcohol, so more taxation. Likely. Contingency fund now stands at 200 million Ghana cedis. That's according to the finance minister. And there is also 50 years of printing. GPAC poised to deliver quality on time. The Daily Graphic newspaper. Then on the international front, inside Africa, Tinubu elected ECOWAS chairman. That was in Guinea-Bissau. He was taken over from their leader, the Bissau Guinean leader. And then 2022 World Disaster Report launched. There is also NPP Presidential Vetting Committee submits report. Just a quick one, that escaped me. On the NPP's report and no one being disqualified and all of that, what does that bode? You know, there had been rumors that some of you would be disqualified. In fact, some had said you would be one of those who wouldn't make the cut. How do you feel now that the report has come out?
Look, Kojo Poku is the Panyada. Okay, Kojo Poku
you're
is the
what?
guy that I'm the Panyada. You know what a Panyada is?
I've heard of it.
A Panyada is a Mexican thing that at the party they put up and there is loads of sweets in there. Everybody beats it up.
Oh, my mind actually went to something else. You were thinking Spanish. I see. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a paniada. Kojopoku is a paniada. Now, every step of the way, I'm the one that people point to. Every step of the way, I'm the one that people think that, oh, he can't find money to file. He will not be given a form. Oh, he'll be disqualified at betting. And look, I think I wouldn't say that there was lack of not trying. I think that people actually went to work at it, that maybe they thought that their goal in life was to basically make sure that that happens. And look, God is the one that creates a king, not individuals. And I'm there. And I mean, all 10 of us went through. Thank God for that. And I think that this issue of people thinking that the vetting was the one that was going to disqualify 5 and put 5 through, I don't know where people got that idea from. The shortlisting of the 5 will be done by the August 26th election. That's the one that will shortlist 5 people going forward. So I don't. It's a good thing, like I said.
I get that, but there were those who felt that even at the vetting stage, some of you would fall. And then it would naturally prune the numbers before you even go for that next stage.
Criteria, look, I think before everybody picked the form, we knew what the criteria was. And if you know what the criteria is, you assess yourself and look at the criteria. Do I qualify? The vetting committee can have their own reasoning because the law also says that they have to find you fit for office. Okay, they have to find you truthful and fit for office. So yes, they could have had their own ways of saying that, look, this person I don't think is qualified because of X and Y reasons. But that would have been disastrous if they tried to now take out 5 and leave in 5. Because look at the names up there. I mean, so most of us are not just an easy picking. So for us to get this far, I think is a good thing. And we've just proved everybody wrong that the party was not up to going into a room to bring out 5 people for delegates. No. Fair, as the committee said, and Justin Kodua has also said, fairness is the name of the game. Everybody will get a chance to go to a delegate, and that's what's happening.
Okay. So let's get into that story in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Mining dispute, AG fights $300 million claim. Now, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Godfrey Adame has gone to court to stop an Australian mining firm, Cassius Mining Limited, from pursuing an international arbitration seeking $300 million in compensation from the government of Ghana. Imagine what that would do, $300 million. That's half of IMF money, the first tranche. Now, Cassius has been fighting Ghana in international arbitration forums since February this year, seeking compensation over what it claimed were unfair treatment and breaches of mining laws by the government of Ghana's failure to extend the term of the company's prospecting license agreement after exercising its contractual right of extension. However, in an application filed at the Commercial Division of the Accra High Court, the AG urged the court to restrain Cassius Mining from going for international arbitration, but rather avail itself of an ongoing arbitration at the Ghana Arbitration Center over the same dispute. It is the case of the AG that, per the PLA, any dispute between the mining firm and the government of Ghana must be resolved by arbitration in Ghana in accordance with our Alternative Dispute Resolution Act. And so that is the story there. Let me quickly go to some other stories so we can reflect, share our thoughts on those as well. My friend Rodney Nkrumah Boateng shares an opinion on page 10, enabling upward social mobility through education. That is there. Let me see whether I can quickly get to page 16 so we can do some stories from there. Usually a lot to digest from that page. Okay, so here I am. 50 years of printing, GPAC poised to deliver quality on time. No, that's not the story. Ministry of Health advocates increase in duties on tobacco and alcohol. Now, the Ministry of Health is pushing for an increase in excise duties on 3 unhealthy consumables to raise an additional 3.5 billion Ghana cedis. I'm talking about tobacco, alcohol, and sugar-sweetened beverages. Sugar-sweetened beverages, which have been identified to be among the main causes of non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, stroke, diabetes, and cancers. The ministry also wants the revenue generated from those specific taxes to be channeled into the management of NCDs that is non-communicable diseases, which have assumed alarming levels in the country in recent years and causing 17,000 deaths per year. I want you to reflect on these stories, especially the one on the new tax handles, or if I can put it that way. And since we're talking health, you know, this year in Kumasi alone, 300 nurses have left. In fact, I had a conversation with health professionals, among others, yesterday. A nurse who was earning 500 cedis in Ghana. In the UK, at Band 5, the lowest is earning 50,000 cedis a month, 3,500 pounds. Do the math. What do you make of that situation? How do we stem the tide of the brain drain? What are your proposals?
How is that a brain drain? We have a huge number of youth unemployment. It's not a brain drain. If Ghana wants to be the net exporter of nurses, let's do it. Let's put a policy in place.
But the problem is, while this happens, we are missing out on the UN standards. Our health authorities, the Ghana Health Service is saying, and we are losing the best of our nurses.
Ben, when you ask a question, let me land. Look, you
made a point. I had to interject and clarify.
But I was going to follow it up. What I'm saying is that if you have more, you can export. If you train more, you can export some. So the point is, we have a lot of unemployed youth, okay? 100,000 every year coming out. If there is a market for nurses outside the country and we have a lot of graduates, why don't we train them as nurses and ship them out? There's nothing wrong with that.
So you want us to produce en masse like the Cubans have been doing over the years with medical doctors?
Why not? Because there's a lot of youth. Look, every year we have over 100,000 people coming out unemployed. So if you say that there's a brain drain, no, there's not a brain drain. The government, you see, everything should be policy-led, okay?
Right.
And as we speak, we know that there is a quest for, or an appetite for nurses around the world because they don't have them. If we train, and you see, we need to train them well. So when they go, they give a good account of themselves. So their brothers and sisters will also get the opportunity. So let Ghana be a net exporter of nurses. So we train a lot of nurses and we send them out and we keep the ones we need. There is nothing wrong with that. I don't think it's a brain drain. Just that, like everything else, Ghana, we take an eye off the ball and let it catch up with us, okay? We need to train a lot of nurses so we can send them out. That's that one. Now, secondly, with the taxes on tobacco
sugar, tobacco products, alcohol.
Leave out the sugar. I just think that anytime people watch too much CNN and they come and bring things that exist in the UK into Ghana, look, leave our sugar out of this thing. What I think the taxes should be on, and I've always had that policy, that we should tax tobacco and alcohol. Look, they are luxury items. If government wants to drive revenue, go after tobacco and alcohol. If you have money to buy champagne, pay more taxes. You have money to buy beer, pay more taxes. I am looking at that instances where people are complaining that they don't have disposable income. Government, in my government, will do a lot to create more opportunities so people have disposable income. But if you decide to use that disposable income on alcohol and tobacco, then you pay more taxes so that the money government generates revenue from that. I am 100% subscriber to that policy, but I don't agree adding the sugar and all those things. Look, if government makes the money and Ministry of Health wants money for other things, we'll have more money and then we'll give them. But the UK route of taxing everything so that people stop doing it. This is a poor country. It's not a rich country. So you can't go about taxing things just because you want people to stop drinking Coca-Cola or you want people to go sugar-free. I don't know why they are pushing everybody to do sugar-free. Have you tried the sugar-free Coke? It's horrible. I like my Coke the original way with sugar.
All right. All right. I see you have a sweet tooth, and that is a very valid. That's a very valid point to make.
We are all gonna go one day. Whilst I'm here, let me enjoy small.
Right. So now look at this. Mohammed Billah, and this escaped me, so I'll have to go to it. Says, "Good morning, Ben. Please correct Kojopoku. Ghana is not a Christian country, but a secular country. Ghana is a religious country, if you want a better and inclusive term." And that is a fair point to make. We're not a Christian country, so to speak, though the population of Christians is over 70%, or even 75%, if I am not mistaken.
I don't know if anybody wants to push that.
No. I mean, per the law, we are not a Christian nation. We're not.
Let me please. Okay, please. in most countries where the majority of the population is what the country is. I don't know where anybody wants to push that argument that we are a secular country. Yes, we have Muslims and we have other religion in Ghana. But when I say we are a Christian country, okay, let me correct that. We are a religious country. So that everybody feels all-inclusive in the Kojo government.
Right. There's another message that says, a newly qualified Band 5 NHS nurse, that's in the UK, now earns £28,407. Now, I just did the division. It means this would be equal to £2,376.25. But here's the difference. I appreciate the fact that you're reaching out to us, Kwejo to 4, but Umar Farouk, whom we spoke to yesterday on this show, confirmed that he earns around 3,000, and when he does extra work, he earns even more. So we pegged it at 3,500 with his approval. So that's how we came up with that figure. So, I mean, do the comparison.
On that conversation, let's put a little caveat to that, please. Let's put a little caveat. I have lived in the UK, so I can tell my listeners this. When you see those huge sums of money that you earn, your expenses.
I know.
Your expenses in the UK, your bus fare.
Yes.
If you live in zone 1, and you have to buy zone 1, 2, 3 bus pass, that alone is twice whatever. So look, don't let people just look at the salary and rush to the UK.
Right.
Because there are nurses in the UK who can barely save £200 a month.
So let me just issue this. No one is trying to get anyone to run away. We're just doing the comparative or the comparison. But then again, when we spoke to these people, in fact, there was someone who reached out to me on the show saying that for him, he limits his spending to even under £100. And he's one of those nurses. So it depends on, of course, lifestyle. Of course, you pay your taxes. But if you have a good head screwed on your shoulders, it is clear that you'll be able to make something much better there. The only thing, I mean, let's not even run away from the facts. The only thing I'll say is that we ought to incentivize, like we spoke to the president of the Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. They want their market premium. They want car waivers, stuff like that. No one is saying that Ghana will become the UK overnight. No. But what are the things you can do here to make us feel better? You have a nurse at grade what, still walking around Trotro and all of that. How would that person feel? So those are the basic conversations we mean to have.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Definitely not UK standards. We're not there yet. On the back page of the paper, it talks about, let me just get to that. It talks about Kurt Okreku and his reforms as far as the GFA is concerned. GFA to invest more in clubs, and that is that. It's quite a story. You can grab details on the back page. Now, the Daily Guide, I am innocent. Aisha Huang, please. That story is on page 6. And then Ghanaian shoots 2 family members in the US. Let me do those 2 quick stories, and we'll be getting ready to wrap. So, Kojo Poku, are you on Threads already? It's one of the fastest rising apps. 100 million users in less than a week. But let me get into the story. Illegal mining kingpin, or Queen Ping, if you like, and Huang, popularly known as Aisha Huang, yesterday opened her defense before an Accra High Court, where she denied ever engaging in illegal mining or providing mining support to either Ghanaians or foreigners. The accused, who was already convicted for illegally returning to Ghana after her repatriation in December 2018 and awaiting sentencing yesterday, told the court that both the charges leveled against her and the evidence given by the prosecution's 11 witnesses be dismissed as not true and just jumped up versions or trumped up versions of old ones. So that is it. Then there's also that story. Where is that? It's supposed to... Okay, so that is on page 3. So a 24-year-old former student of Wenchi Senior High School, who currently resides in Worcester in the United States of America, has been arrested for allegedly shooting 2 members of his family. Reports said the Ghanaian youngster, Kwabena Amwating, fired several rounds at police and was eventually shot and bitten by a police dog before getting arrested after a 13-hour standoff with police in Massachusetts. Sad development. Any reactions to these stories?
Worcester is my town, and it's sad that it happens in Worcester.
No, so there's Worcester, but there's Worcester. This is Worcester.
No, it's the same thing, Worcester, same town.
Oh, I see. Because I know the College or University of Worcester or something like that.
Massachusetts, no, the College of Massachusetts is in Worcester.
Right.
It's spelled Worcester, but it's pronounced Worcester.
Well, I know of Worcester, but anyway, go ahead.
Yes, okay. It's very unfortunate that somebody has to go to that length. You know, mental illness mostly has been blamed for such things. The issue of Aisha, one, I honestly don't know why we are wasting court time with this woman. I agree.
And of course, due process.
Sorry?
I say due process.
Well, I agree that people have to be given due process and that, but sometimes this due process too is overextended. I don't know what she's pleading not guilty for. Is she pleading not guilty for the illegal coming into the country, or not guilty for the illegal mining that he's been accused of? I don't know which one she's saying not guilty for. But I think she's been found guilty for illegal re-entry into the country, and I think also acquiring that documentation that he did whilst he came in. Well, let's see what the court says after he has opened his defense. Everybody's entitled to one, so look, let the law work. Look, you mentioned Tinubu as ECOWAS chairman, and he never went on that. I saw you.
Oh, it was just a drive-by because we had done it in the news.
Oh, okay. I liked his message that he put out there. Let's hope that he can put the words into action. We've always needed Nigeria Big Brother to come in and lead, and then let ECOWAS be ECOWAS again. ECOWAS is lacking leadership, and I think that if he talks the walk, if he walks the talk, we will probably see a vibrant ECOWAS that will probably do a lot for its citizenry.
All right. Just to wrap up the conversation, the Finder newspaper, there is Nkrumah Memorial Park opens to the public from today. You probably want to go there and take a look at the refurbished, the all-new Nkrumah Memorial Park, or Mausoleum, if you like. NHIA clears 1 billion Ghana cedi arrears, solving cash flow challenges facing service providers. And those are the stories in the Finder newspaper. And the Hawk, today I'll just take the story. Dr. Appiah-Henne's EC appointment. You know the Dr. Appiah-Henne I'm talking about. We prioritize skill over politics. Council of State replies NDC. But skill over politics when he is clearly partisan, political. Your quick thoughts, very quick thoughts on that.
Everybody is partisan in this country. I don't know why.
Not everyone is partisan. You can't make that blanket statement. Not everyone is partisan. Everyone is a political animal, but not everyone is partisan.
Ben, maybe not publicly, okay? But everybody privately is partisan. Maybe not publicly.
Everyone privately is political, not partisan.
Because you know the party's political lineage, it doesn't make him an exception to the rule. Everybody in this country of voting age who votes for somebody.
So for someone who openly has campaigned for one political party, who has presented himself to be, if I'm not mistaken, member of parliament and all of that, when that person is given a role, how do you feel about that? Well, clearly partisan.
Is that a reason? Is that a constitutional reason to disqualify somebody for a job?
Is that not a constitutional reason to reassess the person, especially with the delicate... Especially with how delicate the Electoral Commission is. If previous governments had wanted to do that, what do you think the reaction would have been?
Well, politicians always make noise about these things. That is why we are talking about it. But for me, Kojo Pope, it doesn't matter.
All right.
Let's assess people on their conscience and the work they do.
All right.
The fact that somebody... Look, let me give you a typical example.
We don't have the time, so 30 seconds, and then we have to go.
Ben,
No, we're 3 minutes past our time.
It's fine. In the US, you remember Trump? Trump appointed all these conservative people to the courts, thinking that the fact that he appointed them to the courts and their Republican lineage, they will rule for him. They gave him 3 straight nil. And he was saying that, but take it to the Supreme Court, they will vote for me. It went and he lost on all those things. Okay? It doesn't matter. It is the mentality we should change.
While I will not bastardize our judicial system and say that things are not going well, because they have their own dissenting views, but we know that by and large they execute their job well. But to be fair, America is a much more developed democracy than ours. And in the judicial system, it is also fairly more developed than ours. That's what I'll say to that.
Yeah, I agree. But the point is, it's not the institution, it's the human beings.
All right.
So what I'm telling you is that the human being should be more inclined to do their work than their political lineage. That is the conversation.
We'll hang up the conversation here. Kojo, the rest of the conversation we'll have over a cup of tea or something else. I don't take coffee, so we'll have it over something else.
I'll meet you somewhere. I know where to meet you at my junction.
All right. You have a good day, Kojo, and all the best.
Thank you.
Now, that is energy analyst Kojo Nsafua-Poku. He was sharing his thoughts with us. This segment brought to you, as always, by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. They're offering free prostate screening, free female fertility screening. Locate them in Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronomabwehan, behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrade Anaji State Tema Community 22. Techiman Hanso and Siamanzama. Call them on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. But just the start of the so-called sports we're about to serve you. Up next.